Good afternoon, Falcons. This is Bruce Snodgrass, principal of West Burlington Junior Senior High School, and I'm here to help explain the parent portal for Infinite Campus and how to navigate through understanding your students' academic performance through the parent portal. There's two things that you'll need to make sure that you have reference to. One of them is the Infinite Campus portal. As you can see, I am on the West Burlington School District homepage. And in the upper right-hand corner, where my cursor is right now, there's a little drop-down menu that says Infinite Campus. And then you go to parents, students, and staff. How you access the parent portal is through by clicking on the parents toggle right here. And that will take you to the login page, in which will you enter your username and password. And if you don't have your username or password, you should be able to contact your school secretary and then ask them how to go about getting your parent portal information. And once you have that and you have your username and password logged in, it will take you to your students, your parent site, which allows you access to see what parent information is available to you on the portal. And as I said, one of the things that I'm going to do is help you navigate through how to understand your students' academic progress as the school has 100% transitioned to standards-based reporting. I am using my own daughter as the example here, so I will go ahead and get started. Once you get into Infinite Campus, this will be your home page because it says home. Over in the left-hand column, you'll see a bunch of different tabs that allow you to navigate to many different resources. It is best to access the parent portal through the desktop or a Chromebook or some type of laptop device. You can access it through your mobile device, but it may not display things accurately and the way in which to be easy to understood. So I always recommend parents to navigate the parent portal through a laptop, desktop, some type of computer device. So as I said, we're going to look at the student's academic progress. And to do so, the first thing I will do is I will look over here underneath and highlight the grades tab. And then I will click on that. And then all my students' academic progress will show up here on the portal and all the classes that they are registered in for that particular course of study. As you can see, there is no academic progress listed on any of these grade or any of these classes that she is currently enrolled in. And that would be the same for your child as well. That is because everything is underneath the plus symbol. And so when you click on the plus symbol, that will take you to all the different academic standards that that student has been assessed on during the current term. And that example, cite strong evidence through textual evidence to support. And if I click over here to the side, I see this P right next to the standard. That indicates to me that my child was proficient when she was assessed on this standard. Now, if I want to know a little bit more about what this standard was assessment of, I could click on this arrow button here to the right, and then that will take me to another screen that will give me more information as to what is there on that textual evidence site. For example, here's the term that she was, or the standard that she was assessed on, cite strong and through textual evidence to support analysis of the text. She was proficient on it. And then underneath there, I see that there is a summative assessment, and then there's formative assessments. Formative assessments are practice. Those are things that they're doing in class. Those are skill development tasks. They have nothing to do with a student's overall indicator on the performance level standard that is listed here as proficient. If I click on the plus symbol, it will show me that she had a rise to the nationalism reflection that had to do with cite strong and textual evidence through the supportive analysis on that standard and what day it was. And it gives me another symbol here about how she did on that specific example. So at that practice, it only showed that she was AP. Well, AP stands for approaching proficient. Well, the question comes to be, well, Mr. Snodgrass, how is it that I'm able to determine what P and HP and LP and NE, all those different symbols mean? Unfortunately, Infinite Campus does not have the capability for me to post that academic performance standard here on the parent portal for it's easy for you to see. That's why on the school district website, we have another resource that would be beneficial for you to use and look at. And I'm going to switch over to that real quick. Close that. So back on the school district webpage, if I was to click on the junior senior high school, that's going to go to different resources available from the junior senior high school. I scroll down a little bit and I look at these tabs right through here. I got announcements, bell schedule, Infinite Campus Parent Portal Tutorial. That's the old one. This is going to replace that one. Progress reports, standards, learning handbook, student handbook, and the nurse. There's some other resources down here to the bottom. But the main resource that I want to look at now is the Standards Learning Handbook. And by clicking that, that will pop up another window that opens up the Parent and Student Standards Learning Handbook that is going to help you understand the different navigatable things. What is a performance scale? How do I apply the logic rule? Calculating high school performance in grades 9-12, calculating performance in grades 6-8. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and so that way you can see is determining performance in junior high, performing students in high school. There's not much difference between the two, okay? When you see the code of HP on your student's profile, that stands for highly proficient. If you see a P on the student's academic performance, that stands for proficient. AP is approaching proficient, and LP is limited proficient. If you ever see an NE on a student's academic progress page under standard, that means there's been no evidence of that standard given. The student didn't attempt it, didn't do it. There's no way for the teacher to assess it, okay? I will tell you that if a student has an NE or 2 LPs on their academic progress, that will cause them to fail the class. That is considered as a failure, and they will either need to repeat the class or do something differently to make up that credit or learning opportunity. So it would be beneficial for you as a parent to have this page printed out. If you want to stop by, pick up a copy of it, I'll be glad to hand you a copy of this as well. So now that I know what HP, P, LP, all that stands for, I'm going to go back to my parent portal and I'll go back to my student's academic progress so I can see what she's done. Academic progress, she's got a proficient, and all those assess standards. Well, as I scroll down, there's several standards that have proficiency levels indicated on them. However, there's 2 that do not. That's okay. That just means that the teacher or the class hasn't got to those 2 academic learning targets yet for them to be assessed. When they are assessed, there will be a academic performance level over here on the right side of that indicator. So I'm going to minimize American Lit. I'm going to jump down to maybe another one here, for example, Spanish 3. As I can see, there's nothing here next to this academic performance. That means it hasn't been assessed yet, but then there is academic performance on these others. On these other standards that they've been assessed on the Mrs. Bates Spanish class. Well, Mr. Snodgrass, What is this standards end of term performance? Okay, well, that standards end of term performance is the academic grade that that student would receive based on the 1, 2, 3, 4 standards that have been set so far if the term was to end today. Not every classroom has that on there, but Mrs. Bates in her Spanish 3 class wanted to have a way in which parents and students could see the academic progress based off of this instead of maybe bouncing back and forth to this paper. But not every class has that indicated. For example, down here, weight and agility, standards end of term progress is not there. Okay. SOAR employability is that's how are they doing with their academic behavior, such as are they working in groups? Are they being a collaborative group member? Are they completing their work on time? Are they being a productive citizen in the classroom? There may be things in there under SOAR employability. There may not be. It just depends on what the academic teacher is doing, how they're providing feedback to teachers on that specific criteria. So I'm going to close these back down, minimize them back down. Let's see, if I go to another one, I can see that there is no academic performance here in chemistry yet. And then if I go to business workplace experience, these are the things that she would not have done yet. But again, to recap, to see my students' academic performance, I click on the plus sign. I can see the different standards that have been assessed, what type of progress they have received on that standard so far. And if I want to investigate further about what that standard was assessing, I can click on the over arrow. That will bring me to another page. And then I can see that proficient, cite this evidence. Here's the summative assessments that they've had. And you can see that they've been 3 different summative assessments that they have shown throughout the course of over this thing. And this was a formative assessment, which is not graded. This is practice. This is daily work, repetition to see how they're doing on that particular standard. And anytime that I, as a parent, see an arrow pointing to the right, that means there's other information available. And then anytime I see a plus symbol underneath a standard, that means there's other information available for me to look at. All I have to do is click on it. Things to keep in mind. It's all about the learning. We're focusing on learning. We're not focusing on a grade. Students always have the opportunity to reassess, provided they have completed the criteria for reassessment that the teacher sets. A letter grade is not given to a student until the end of the term for the high school students. Junior high students, letter grades do not matter. We do not use letter grades in high school. Letter grades we use at high school because there's financial implications to that later on post high school if they want to go to college and they need scholarships, acceptance into a college, things of that sort. But for the most part, letter grades do not mean anything at the high school level. What we want to tell you is report to you what the student is able to do and understand. And that's why we use the proficiency scale used here in the Standards Learning Handbook that says on an academic performance, the student was highly proficient in that learning goal of that standard, or they were approaching proficient, or there's limited proficiency. That gives you more information, specific learning about what they're doing besides they didn't do so well, like, for example, on test 5. You don't know what test 5 is. Now, when it comes to end of term, for example, how do I access a student's grade card when it comes to the end of the trimester? Well, that's simple enough. Again, left-hand column, I'm going to scroll down my cursor until I see Documents, and I'm going to click on Documents. And make sure the school year is 23-24. And these are the things that you completed during registration, transportation, insurance, heads up, good conduct form. But if you scroll down a little bit further, here we go, report card. Here is the junior senior high school performance trimester 1 report card. What I see here, I see a right arrow. That means that there is something more there. So I'm going to click on it. When I click on it, it pops up another screen. And what will display here is that student's academic report card for the term. For the term. And then every class that student has will be listed. Here are the academic standards that were assessed throughout the course of the term, their academic performance level on each one of those standards, and then at the end of the term, there will be this heading right here that says Standards End of Term Performance. That will tell you what their letter grade is for that academic class based off of these academic standards that were assessed throughout the class period, term. And if you scroll down a little further, we see the academic performance level, standards performance. This gives you the feedback of what each letter represents in terms of highly proficient, AP, things of that sort. I hope this helps. I hope this provides some clarity. If after watching this or seeing anything, hearing anything, there are questions, concerns, comments that you need to have clarified, please do not hesitate to give me a call, send me an email, come up to school, and I will help navigate you through so that way you can better understand your students' academic performance. Again, I hope this helps, and have a great day.